Hey, it's you, it's me, it's us, and we're doing this thing again. This is episode 60. Absolutely amazing, in my opinion. But let's start it off like we do it every time we do this. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I hope that you're doing well, and I hope that wherever you are is doing good for you. It is me, your friend, Paul Carpenter, and this is On the Road, in the Waves, and On the Other Side. Today is episode 60, and I have an amazing gift for you. I have two beautiful, beautiful souls, and I can't wait to share their journey and their story with you of just amazing transition and change and living free and being honest and just so good. My friends, before I even go a bit further, I'm going to play a new album that they have that just came out. So we're just going to listen to a little bit of that, see a little bit of the visuals, and then I will bring on these two beautiful souls. My friends, I introduce to you Dawn Loves Nash.
We can't predict the future. We can't erase the past. This is my favorite part. This is where we come together in the middle of a little love song, right where we belong. Ooh, in the middle of a love song, right where we belong. Do you really know what you really want, what you really need? Do you really know what you really want, what you really need? Do you really know what? Dum da dee dum dum da dee dum dee dum da dee dum da dee dum da dee dum dum da dee dum dee dum da dee dum. Step right up, step inside. Why do we do this every time? Stay with me. You're gonna be happy, happy. Baby, you're my queen. Crazy, she's a little bit crazy. She's stoned and alone in San Francisco. Too far gone, too far away.
Goodness, how could you say no to any of that amazing, amazing new album that's coming out from Dawn and Nash? I am now going to bring these two love souls onto the stage. These are them, my dear Dawn Loves Nash. This is Dawn and Nash, my friends. I love you guys so much.
We love you.
How are you doing today?
Oh, it's nice to be here.
The sun
Nice
is
to see your
shining.
face again.
Yeah, man, same. And I like the story of how we met. And I don't know if you know, but I've had Sci-Fly on here a couple times.
I thought about the way we met for a while, but thank you for bringing that up because that was the best afternoon of my life.
Yeah.
What an amazing journey we had of getting to like awaken people and open up this portal of energy of love. And it was just this, like when it happened, and then the way that it ended at the end when we were on the beach and the thing with the, and then the music. Oh, God, it was just so like,
So good.
oh,
Our life is
so
a
good.
movie.
It's so funny because a friend of mine said to me, a good friend of mine, I've known him since, I don't know, like I was 30, 32. And he says to me, bro, how did you get to Cancun, man? And I'm like, how do I get away with anything that I do in my life? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just travel and I just keep going. And that's a lot of y'all's story. So I want to, before we go much further, I love to introduce people like this. It's a bit of a joke, but bear with me. Dear Dawn and Nash, we love you. We want to know about you. Who are you? Where do you come from? Tell us a little bit more. We are interested.
I love you.
I'm French Canadian, and I come down to Nashville about 16 years ago to find out more about what was going on with the music over there. And I met Dawn, and Dawn had come in like maybe
a couple years before him from Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I came from Seattle.
How cool.
before.
I just got to Nashville, and my buddy goes, "We're going to a buddy's place, and there's going to be a bunch of people in the house. We're going to be writing songs together." And I'd never done that. I thought that was like so much fun. So we get there, and we separate in small groups, and I meet Dawn, and Dawn and we start writing songs together 3 or 4 times a week. But we don't start dating for
6 months.
many months, yeah. And then
Really? How
and we write
beautiful
songs
is that
together for
connection?
years before we actually start singing together. Maybe 3 years,
3 years
writing songs, but
before we started singing, yeah.
together live and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And both of us
Wow.
were singers and songwriters before we met each other individually. We just came together, and something magical happened with us when we started singing our songs. There was our harmonic thing that happened with our voices, and somebody told us about it, and we went, okay. And they said, well, you guys should do this. You should sing these songs. And we're like, well, we're just going to demo them and give them to somebody else. And they're like, no, you should do them. So
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So correct me if I'm wrong when I ask, but you, Dawn, you had like a regular life, and so did you, Nash, right? Regular lives in the regular Babylon world, if you want to call it.
yes.
So
Dawn did, yeah. Dawn did. I'm
I
not
was-
I've
I
been
was in
out
the-
for a while, but she was, yeah.
I was in the corporate world for 14 years.
there you go.
And,
So if you don't mind, can you give me a bit of the story? Because like a lot of the episodes that I do, I like to see how people come to who they are today, like the transitional story, because through that transition, there's some kind of hardship that happened that created the freedom that you have. And I like to share those kind of like journeys, because then other people can be like, oh, wait, I'm on the same kind of journey, or I have something that's similar. So what was that process for
Well,
you of?
For me,
Yeah, go
okay,
ahead.
so I'm going to try to summarize it because it started when I was a baby. So when I was a baby, I used to sing songs. I'd walk around with the headphones and sing songs when my uncle would put the headphones on me at my grandfather's house. And ever since then, I just kept wanting to sing. Every time I'd get near the piano, I'd want to play on it. Every time I'd hear music, I want to sing it. Then I'm in the backyard making up my own songs. And then I go to school and I'm like looking for all the avenues that I could put myself into music, because it's what my heart was calling for. And then, life happens and you have to go to school and you have to get a job because you got to pay the rent and you got to do these things. And when I was younger, I didn't realize that I could do the stuff I'm doing now. So back then it was a process of going through what society was telling me I had to do, which was go get that paying job. So I did. I went and got the 9 to 5. And every single job that I have had, the first one was in administration, the next one was in sales and marketing and hospitality. Every single aspect, though, was teaching me to get into myself and to get more connected with myself. And
to learn to do it for yourself later on, right?
yeah. And there was even a moment when I had given up music. I had said, that's it. I'm not going to do it. I quit. I guess I'm just going to take a break. It's not meant to happen for me. I'm just going to keep doing this.
If you've ever
life,
tried being an actor or a songwriter or some, in the arts, as you know, then you really got to want to. You really gotta want it.
Yeah. And for me,
It reminds me of the story. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No. I was just saying that it reminds me of the story of Sixto Rodriguez. And have you ever? Oh man, you got to watch this documentary. It's phenomenal. It's called Sugar Man.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
That story is
oh
insane.
my, and like that's the story. You got to be like,
hey, I keep hoping it's gonna happen to me. Somebody gonna pick up the phone and say, "You have no idea. You need to come to this country. You have 3 number ones."
Well, what was cool is that for a year.
You know? You didn't know?
He didn't know. For a year and a half, I gave up music. I did. I gave it up. I said, "That's it. I'm not doing it." And then it was crazy because a year and a half went by, and all of a sudden there was something that sparked inside of me to go sing again. And I was like, I have to go sing. And then I went from singing to making my first album by myself, and doing that in Seattle, Washington.
And going on, she went to country charts.
I was as a country singer. So I put the album out.
No way.
3 of my songs went on to the minor charts, is what they're called. And it was so cool because one of my songs went to number 35. And I was in between Faith Hill and Martina McBride on the chart. And I'm like, wow, is this really happening?
Whoa.
So yeah, at that point I thought, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't give up music. Maybe I should keep doing this thing. And it's really honestly the only thing that ever gets me to get into myself and bring myself out the way that I really want to. And so I made a journey to Nashville, and I started doing demos in Nashville. And then after a couple of years of doing demos in Nashville, it's so many like little things. Doors just kept like, hey, over here, come through this door. Hey, over here, why don't you come through this door? And all I had to do was just go through the door. And so every time the door would present itself, I would just walk on through. And there are so many. There's going to be a book because I call it the signs of life for me. And all the different signs of how, if I go this way, it opened up something new. And then from that went to something else new. And then from that. And then eventually I moved to Nashville. And then I moved to Nashville and started doing the writing thing and singing thing. And I was still in the corporate world for the first 4 years of living in Nashville.
I will never forget when she called home and said,
Whoa.
I just divorced the corporate world.
Well, they let us all go.
Nash was jumping up and down because I was already living the life, and I knew that if she gave it a chance. But at this point, we're not singing together. There's no act.
No, we hadn't started singing together. We were just writing. We were still writing.
Wow.
And so I come home and I'm like, I don't have a job anymore. I'm like, what am I going to do? And he's over here jumping up and down, like, and I'm freaking out inside going, I think I'm going to die. I don't know how to live without a job. I've had a job for 14 years.
I felt like I just got one of my buddies out of jail. We're going to have a beer.
Right. That's so funny, right? That's so funny. And this is something I really want to pick on because of what you just said. Like, look at how the freedom on one side is the thought, and then the like this, I don't want to call it, but slave mentality kind of thought of like, oh my God, this that's not the Munchausen. It's not the Munchausen by proxy. It's called the where you start to care about your captor, Stockholm syndrome. So you had like Stockholm syndrome of the corporate world. You know what I mean? Like you were like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I don't know.
Wives, I'm not sure, but kind of the same energy.
We like our safety nets, right? Everybody likes to have a little safety net. And nobody likes to have the safety net taken out of their while they're juggling or while they're doing the trapeze act and somebody takes out the net.
Right. It's crazy though, because what it did was it stemmed from that moment. It opened up this whole new thing. I went into depression because I didn't know how to handle it. I was working on it, but I did for the first year. I went into depression. I lost somebody very close to me. He died the year prior. And so, he died right then. That's right. He died. I lost my job and everything happened all at the same time. And it was so crazy because I'm like, how am I going to do this? So he's like, every day, he's like, come on, babe, we can do this. Let's just reinvent ourselves. What does it look like? What do we want it to look like? Okay, let's do marketing. We can do marketing. So we started doing marketing together, and that helped pull me up out of the depression. It was a dark time because I wasn't sure how things were going to go, but I took a leap of faith. And I just kept putting one foot in front of the other and kind of kept looking fear in the face every single day.
There's really something about
lost
writing.
My house got short sold.
Oh, yeah.
All the things, like everything happened that year.
But there's something about writing songs. Some people go to a therapist. Some people write a play. We write songs. And when you write a song, you can't just say blah, blah, blah. You have to explain yourself for the next hour, especially if the other person can't quite understand what you mean by that. And you really get to the depth of what's going on inside you by writing a song about. I mean, you could write a poem on the back of a napkin. It's all the same about how it makes you feel. There's something about when you pick up a pencil and you start doing the thing, it just like, it comes out like a...
Yeah. It's very cathartic. It helps you see it from a different perspective and helps you feel it from a different perspective. And then once you realize that it's already past and already gone and there's nothing you can do about it, what are you going to do now?
I suppose it's the same as you making
great
great humor out of situations. Is it? Similar to that.
I don't know. I've always wanted to be funny, but I've never felt that I was, because I've always wanted to be like a stand-up comedian. I thought I would make like a phenomenal stand-up
I
comedian.
thought you were when I met you, man.
I think you're a stand.
Maybe I am, but I just don't know
Maybe
it.
you
But
are.
And when I
my
saw your
life
magic
my
show, I
life
knew
is
you were
comedy.
a comedian.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I mean, sure, I do like, magic comedy, but that's not that for me, the being able to get on stage with just a microphone by yourself, no tools, and it's just your voice that is creating the presence of this want to make you laugh thing,
Yeah.
right? Because it's a very skilled technique when you really start to get into like what comedy is. Man, it's really in depth and very scientific on how to make somebody laugh.
Oh, yeah, I
And
believe it.
Words and silence are your allies if you know how to use them.
exactly. Like I've
bring
been
me up-
watching. Go ahead.
I have something
No,
else.
no.
I'm holding the thought. I'm holding it.
Oh, say it.
I just wanted to say that you made me think of something right now. So at the end of my journey and the depression that I was in, it stemmed into a health crisis. I went into a health crisis for 30 days. I couldn't move. I was in my bed, could not move. We had just gotten married. Like that week, literally just gotten married, and I fell and went into the bed for 30 days. He had to take care of me. He had to carry me everywhere. This was on the heels of me losing my job, losing my friend that I cared for deeply, and all of this stuff happening.
State of mind is
But
an
the state of
incredible
mind.
thing.
So for 30 days, it rocket launched me into a healing crisis to where I had to have complete surrender. And I just laid there and I thought, okay, at this point, I had been dealing with doctors for a very long time because I'd been dealing with some things. I'd identified that I had endometriosis and chronic fatigue and diabetes and Lyme and autoimmune and migraines. And you know what?
All gone, by the way.
It's all managed and stabilized now because I've since it from that moment. So the losing of the job, the depression, the losing of my friend that I cared for, and then coming into getting married, to falling into bed, to having to do this healing crisis with myself. It forced me to go so deep inside and surrender, to like have complete faith and trust that there is nothing I can do. Everything's already been set in motion, and I just need to get better and just need to keep going, moving
It's
forward.
painful
Right.
to learn that we're not in control in it.
Yeah, but that is what launched the rest of our journey with this whole caregiving. It like took us into a whole other thing.
Right. Yeah.
The game
Yeah,
changer.
and that's when. So let's talk about that. Like so as you guys started doing your music together and people started hearing it, that's when you guys went, oh wait, we can go to these like health seminars and like self-help groups and stuff, and you start singing at these like personal development groups, and you start getting to be part of that. How did that come to be? Or was it just somebody saw you at one of your events and was like, oh my God, I need you at my event?
That.
Good questions, Carpenter. Because you get the best answers ever out of people. That. Yeah, that one.
Dawn took me.
What you just said there.
Dawn took me on a surprise trip to a firewalk. My first firewalk years ago.
13 years ago, we went firewalking. He didn't know he was going. I said, babe, we're going to go to this personal development retreat this weekend. It's going to boost our spirits. We're going to feel great. And bring the guitar because she wants us to just sing around the fire. So we get there, and first of all, he's like totally mind blown because he doesn't know what we're doing. And the first thing he sees is her with a shirt, and on her shirt, it's got a logo, and it says Firewalker. He goes, wait a minute, are we firewalking? I said, yes, we're firewalking.
Man,
surprise!
Many years later, and many firewalks later, and a couple of miracles later,
we're
from firewalks where you get to
tap into here.
You get to really learn to get that out of the way.
Get rid of the fear and surrender to yourself.
You'll burn your feet if you
Let
bring
go
this to
of all the things that aren't
that's
serving
go.
you anymore.
Right, yeah, I've heard that, what you just said, that you will burn your feet if you're not in the actual process, because you start to think too much, or you start to be too involved
And what's
instead
the
of
thought,
just
right?
going. And then it helps you understand that that's how you have to go after things in life, right? Is that kind of a correlation?
Totally.
Or maybe the flip side of the end of what you said, where you realize that you're in charge of the happy and the sad. You made both, and for every thought, you better watch what you're thinking. I write a lot about this
Yeah,
subject.
we
A lot
do.
of it. The thought thinker is the thought, so careful what you think about. You know, how's it start? Only you can make you mad, so only you can make you glad.
Make you sad. Yeah, it's
Aren't you
so
glad
funny.
to know the truth? Happiness is up to you.
I love you guys. I love you guys. I see. This is why. Like, it was so funny when we all leave, and we all start going back out, and it's so like now seeing you guys and talking to you guys and having the energy we shared before, and then having it again. It's like, oh, I remember my family. Where are you? Where are you?
Yeah, it's like this little electrical frequency thing that you can feel it in your body. It's this current that you feel charged up when you meet certain people.
So for those who weren't there that day, which is everybody but the 4 people in that golf cart, I get in there. I get in the golf cart with a guitar. I'm going up to the stage at the top, and we're at a festival, and there's Paul, man. And Paul and I spend the next 4 hours, if I remember correctly. I might be exaggerating. It might be 3 and 50 minutes.
Whatever.
It was unbelievable. It was. You want to get to know somebody, spend 4 hours with them in a taxi. It was great.
in a golf cart taxi running around the woods.
Just going around.
And our job is to make people laugh.
around.
He's playing, I'm playing, he's playing, we're making people laugh, people are dancing. What a joy it was to be us.
What a joy.
What a joy.
What a joy to live these moments of now.
Of being us, of just being us.
Who we are.
and loving the silly, and that's so. What a great like transition from. And what a great story, Dawn, that you have. Not to push you away, Nash, but that's like the ultimate.
You know what's really crazy about the story? Like, there's so much I could actually write a book. But here's the thing: you just now made me realize that the epicenter happened all at the same time. 13 years ago, my job went away. My friend went away. I was in a depression. Got really, really sick. Got married. And went to the fire walking, broke through the fear thing, and it all happened in the same year. It's like it went, and now 13 years later, here we are, and we're finally releasing our first album.
So what's great is coming to these mountains. We go to the Blue Ridge Mountains, and long story short, we were taking care of a friend with Lou Gehrig's disease for 7 years. And she was quadriplegic, and so Dawn was 100 hours a week,
24/7.
And so when Ann passed in 2022, people had been telling us for a long time,
2021.
Get on the road, man. Get on the road. Go sing your beautiful songs to the beautiful people. And it was scary at first because you're getting out of a situation, going into another one. I had experience in that, so for Dawn it was a big leap of faith. And we go to one festival in the mountains.
Hold on a second. We downsized from a 3,000 square foot. This is the next phase. Okay. So we got rid of the corporate and got rid of all of that. We still lived in houses. And then last year we got rid of the living in houses and downsized to a 10 by 10 storage and put the rest of the stuff in our SUV and drove off to the southeastern states, Georgia and Florida and South Carolina.
There was no plan.
No plan.
And little did we know that this place would receive our music in a way that we could only dreamed of in Nashville for 15 years of just trying. And we come to
where are you guys at now?
Right now we're in Lake Oconee, Georgia.
So middle Georgia.
It looks absolutely beautiful behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about 57 degrees, but the sun is happening and the lake is right behind us. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a great place. It's a friend of ours. We come up here to work on music together. He's also a caregiver, so we come up and hang out with him. and do some fun things.
So we have a side gig, right? We've been the traveling caregivers for quite a few years because as we learn from experience, caregivers, they give and they give and they give.
Give and they give
And
and
so
they
they
give.
wipe out financially, emotionally, and physically pretty quick. There's 57
53
million unpaid caregivers in America taking care of a family member, a friend, or a parent, or something like that.
Yeah.
And so that's 1/6 of the country basically taking care of the rest, and it's not getting better. It is what it is, and that's augmenting. And we're just out there to remind caregivers.
Remember who you are.
Oh yeah.
Remember who you are.
Take care of you.
And you're not alone. You are not alone, and you might feel alone in this journey of caring for somebody, but all you got to do is say, hey, I need a hug. I need somebody to go to the grocery store, maybe mow the yard. I mean,
we need caregivers to be a little more proud of being caregivers. They kind of are not, and they're heroes to me.
They're heroes.
Once you've been through it, you're just like, oh, how may I serve you?
Caregivers are heroes.
Yeah, especially the ones
100%.
who just jump in with no salary and lose their paycheck and lose their vacations. And
but even I was guilty of it. I was guilty of saying, I don't need any help. I can do this by myself. I don't need help. You guys, I got this. I got this. And then what would happen is I would end up getting sick or hurting my body in some way, shape, or another. And then I was working hurt. And then it just took longer to recover every single time, So it's about recognizing how to take care of yourself while you're caring for somebody else and knowing that it's just as important to take care of yourself.
Because if you go down, who's going to take care of you and the patient? You really it's hard that corporate mentality, but it is. It's effective, and that's why an ambulance, you're trained, in emergency to keep you cool. But there's a reason, because then you can this keeps going.
Yeah.
Right.
The brain keeps going.
100%. Yeah. So I want to mention that you've said something to the effect of you've had some trials and tribulations as of recently in life, right? So some things have happened, and we talked personally when we were, and I'm not going to bring up anything, but you've had trials and tribulations that are now that, based on what you've told me from the beginning of the story to what you are today, those trials and tribulations now seem like water off your back.
That's it. You got it.
And it just does not. There is no computation here anymore, bro. I'm so sorry for you that you're stuck like I used to be stuck. It's what a beautiful. Look, there's a thing in Judaism that's called tikkun olam, which is your earthly work, and oh my, have you done your earthly work?
Doing it.
We're doing it.
I remember.
Yeah. I think it keeps going until I'm not here anymore.
For sure. No, yeah, but the big chunk of what you were supposed to do has been done in the sense that, because that's the ultimate transition. What you're talking about is the ultimate. I worked 14 years. I did corporate America. I signed my TPS reports. I did it. To go from that to I'm just on this cool lake with my husband as we write beautiful music and help people who are caregivers understand how beautiful they are. And it's like, I gotta go. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. Okay, so look, I want to get it. Before we go, I want to get into Nash's story from when you started out. And I know you said, whatever, I went to Nashville 13 years ago. And you said something very powerful at the end of this, which was so crazy how we came back to Nashville 13 years later and we got accepted after trying for 13 years on scratching the surface and nothing would happen. And there's this beautiful analogy that is so many times people in life will try to go up the face of the cliff that's just straight and very hard, and you're scratching and sure, you might get 5 or 10 feet up and other people are looking up going, dude, how the hell did he get up there? And sure, you might get to the and then but you also have no rope and you also have no safety net and you have nothing, so when you do hit, you hit hard. And there's this beautiful analogy that says, why not stop scratching the surface and just go around the mountain and realize that there's a path that goes all the way to the top? It might take a little longer. It might have to be a little bit more of a journey, but man, oh man, is it going to be so much easier for you.
And then
And
you
you're going
start
to feel
writing songs like, I just want to go with the flow, knowing all this is out of my head.
I just want to go with the flow, knowing all this is out of my head. Really want to go with the flow, knowing all this is out of my head.
Oh, don't stop. Don't stop. I literally, I'm not even kidding. And I'm not just a friend of y'all's. I am a super fan of you both.
I love you, baby.
No, it's really crazy. Like, and I'm so sorry I haven't sent you a new like edit of the song that, and I'm going to. Oh, I'm going to. But it's been such a headache to try and.
Forgive yourself right now.
I forgive myself.
Okay.
But you know what I mean, right? It's so heavy. Like you already have the edit, and I'm trying to take out the old edit and fix that one, and it's just so I'm having to start all over.
We do.
And
We understand better than most.
We understand completely.
yeah. So listen, I don't. If you wouldn't mind, the song that we recorded that day.
Yeah.
Could you guys play that, and I'll let you guys play it.
Oh.
Do you mind?
Song, it's great. It's great that you want this one. So, working with Anne for 7 years, Anne was the lady I cared for who had ALS, and so I was often working with Anne all night, and he would wake up and I wouldn't be in bed because I'd be working with Anne, and so he wrote this song for me in my absence.
Well, we have a comment here.
Not there. So this is for all the caregivers who aren't like there with their spouses all the time because they're taking care of somebody.
We have a comment here from Jody. He says, "I'm a super fan of y'all too."
Aww.
So he said it's in love.
Oh, and then the other
I
message.
love to hear that.
There's one more thing behind this song. It's about learning to love yourself too, because you know, if you can't love yourself and if you can't love the moment you're in right now, I can promise you won't love anything, even if it's exactly what you were waiting for and hoping for. I can deliver it to you with a bow.
Yeah, you'll find something wrong with
You'll
it.
find something wrong with it. So until you can get to a place that you're just happy with what you are and who you are, nothing really matters.
If you can't be happy with nothing, you're gonna have a hard time being happy. Period. It's just hard reality. He comes to you when you let go, like a new song on the old radio. He comes to you when you make someone smile. So let your love light shine. Ooh, who's gonna love you if you don't love yourself? If you don't love yourself, tell me who's gonna love you. Tell me, can you love yourself? Tell me, can you love yourself? He comes to you when you forgive and forget. Everybody's just doing the best they can. That's right. He comes to you when you come to the right side of your mind. So let your love light shine.
yeah. Who's gonna love you? If you don't love yourself, if you don't love yourself, tell me who's gonna love you? Tell me, can you love yourself? Tell me, can you love yourself? Yeah.
Well, can
Well,
you?
can you?
God, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Oh man, I love you.
I love you guys so much, man. I really do. Like, I remember. I love you. But I remember when I was editing the song and I was in my friend's office and it was just playing over and over and over again in the background. They're like, bro, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm in the middle of an edit, bro.
That happened to us when we were shooting the video for Jesus and Johnny Cash, and we had everybody dressed up, fire spinners, and everybody. It was crazy. Fire coming out of the guitar and everything. And you repeat the song and play and just dance and film and
I forgot to turn the phone off.
And then there's a girl over there that was actually hosting, and she's parking the cars, and she's nice to everybody. And eventually, she's really quiet and very nice. And eventually, she just cracks. Will you guys change the music? She had no idea.
Oh, you're talking about that part of the story.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny. Nobody told
Stop playing the same song, for God's sakes. I do. What I do is I go to. I'm such a dick. I'll go to Waffle House, and just sometimes, and not always, but I'll play the same song like 3 times in a row. And it'll be like a Johnny Cash song or something, or
Oh my God.
and so people are just like, "What? Didn't that just play a second ago?" And then it plays again, and people are like, "Didn't that just play a second ago?" And it's so great to watch people. They're like, "What's going on?"
It's a great way to see if they're paying
Sure. Yeah, but most people notice. Most people notice. Yeah, because they'll be like, "Oh, I remember the song," or they'll, "Oh, I know that song," and then all of a sudden it plays again, and they're like, "Man, this song's really long."
There's a reason why Johnny Cash
being like 6 minutes long.
40 seconds, because that's as much as it should be. I'm a big fan. But after 2 minutes and 40 seconds, every Johnny Cash song is less than 3 minutes, and I think there's a reason for that. That's the way it's supposed to be, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like some songs that are like soundscapey.
Yeah.
That can be like, I don't know. Like, I think of albums like one of my favorite albums of all time is Graceland by Paul Simon.
Thank you very
I
much.
love that.
It's like,
The Making of Graceland, the best documentary on the internet.
Ever.
If you want to learn how to make music,
wow.
watch The Making of Graceland. It's a very important thing if you make music to watch that. You gotta watch it.
Yep. Yeah, the way that he went to South Africa, learned about apartheid, learned about the thing, and was like, "What is going on here?" Yeah, how music. It goes back to Sixto Rodriguez again. That's so funny how we did a big circle, but it ends up being that same thing. How music can literally change an entire country, let alone the foundation of the way people think from an album that. I mean, wow, what a story that guy has. I don't know if you know, he just recently passed away, unfortunately.
I'm amazing. But that's beautiful.
Well, that brings me to this point. The point is that we're here right now, right? So one of the things that have been shown to me with the losing of the job and the losing of people in our lives, and we're not promised anything, we're not entitled to anything, so every single moment that we're in is a miracle. Every now that we're in, it's a miracle. And I just am to a place now finally in my heart that I know who I am, and I know why I came here. I came here to do this. I came here to bring you love and joy, and to be that, because that's who I am. And I'm not going to waste any minute not doing it, because that's why I'm here. And so any other minute spent doing anything else, and yes, hard times come to us all the time and we have to push through it. but we have a lot more faith now that it's going to work itself out, and it's not as bad as it looks, and it never is. Because we've gone through some really, really hard stuff. That stuff, and I know there's a lot of people that going through
And
something
your
right
stories
now,
are real.
and your stories are real, and they're real for you. And each one of us has our real stories, but
by switching your perception of what you're living,
and why you're living
your
it,
whole world will change. You remember the third book, I think, comes out after The Secret. I think it's the third
your
one, The
intention,
Magic.
your intention, and your attention.
By being grateful,
Attention.
just by being grateful, you try this for 3 days, being grateful. Just make a list of everybody you can't stand. Like, you can't stand to be around them. Give me 10 reasons why they're good people. You do this for 3 days and watch your whole world change.
Everything
Watch
switch.
everything switch.
Just
Yeah.
take little thoughts and put little positive spins on them. If you're having a negative thought about something, just ask yourself what positive has come to you from that situation, because I can guarantee you there's something of both.
And also, your life is, if you don't
It's a
accept that
mirror.
life is a mirror, it can be hard to, hey, it's bothering me. This about you is bothering me. And you're like, no, it's me. What? Okay, so now you look in your life and what are you doing?
You start looking at yourself
because you're
going,
really
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Else you could stand there and watch that person do the thing without reacting. It wouldn't affect you.
So we've written a lot of
Right.
songs about holding yourself accountable. That's for sure.
A lot of
Yeah.
songs about being accountable and about how I use this example of being grateful. We get out of the homeless shelter from teaching songs. We were there for a few years.
Songwriting
class. And get out of there, and it's raining, and the weather's terrible, and the car won't start. And we got a meeting to go to, and I'm upset. I really want to make this meeting. I'm outside, and I'm trying to figure it out. And eventually, I lose my cool, and I kick the tire. Guy walks by. Remember, we're at the homeless shelter. Guy walks by.
I want to say
and says,
the unhoused, not homeless.
and guy walks by and says, "What's the matter, man?" I tell him the situation. Says, "My car won't start." You have a car? Change your perception.
Boom.
Boom. Drop the mic. Can't hear you.
Wait, where'd you go?
Sorry. He's like, the guy's like, you have one of those?
You have one
I
of
don't
those.
have one of
You
those.
got a condo?
Exactly.
Then that's the other thing, is that you're not. The thing that we learned there is that homeless shouldn't be the word that we're using. We were born into our home. Our home is this thing we're walking around in. The house is just the structure that we live in for comfort. So you can live in any kind of structure for comfort. I mean, we've been on the road now for a year and a half with our SUV and a tent, and sometimes we have a room and sometimes we have a shack.
And we even sold our camper up in northern Indiana. We're completely free. It's really weird at first, of course. And then what a grounding experience to move to the mountains and to spend spending a lot of time outside, and I'd forgotten how disconnected I was, man, because I take a lot of time to connect. And
I'm here to report that you can live even when it gets cold outside.
You take away the internet, and you take away the buildings.
Put more clothes on.
You take away the corner store where you can go every 5 minutes. You take away those things, and all of a sudden you're left. We had to move into the forest, the middle of a forest in the mountains with a Jamaican family, all winter, to finally go, hey man, maybe I don't need to do that today. Maybe I don't need to, keep imposing things on myself.
They showed us how life can be very simple. Over and over.
Just chill out, man. Just chill out. And we had great mentors in the past. You talk about pulling little pranks when you go to the restaurant. Don took care of the great Vern Gosden for the last 5-6 years of his life, and he was best friends with George Jones. They would sit on the bus and they would be like planning, okay, when we stop at McDonald's later, here's what we're gonna do. You tell the girl you're from, and that's what they did all day. Because they knew how to have fun, man.
It's about just sitting in this moment you're in right now and taking it all in and calling it a vortex, because you're in it. So you're in this little vortex right here.
Whether you like it
or not. And when you take yourself out of your vortex and you put yourself out there, just remember you're responsible for that. So,
every word,
every word,
every thought. People don't realize that they're responsible for their immaculate words or not so immaculate words.
So we write songs about it.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. I love you guys so much. I love how much you do.
They call it the medicine. So we come to the mountains last year, and I keep hearing the songs. They keep. Would you play the medicine? And at first, it didn't sit well with me because I'm anyway.
It's just our music.
It's just music, you
it's
know.
how we work through our stuff.
But then people at the end of the evening come and tell you the story,
how they're working through
how
their
it
stuff
affected them, what you
with
said.
our music. And you're like, wow.
That's powerful.
So
That's the powerful pick right there.
We're
Yes,
not
sir.
alone. We're not alone.
Yeah. No, it's the thing that once we recognize. I did a really good podcast. Well, I think it was really good. It was episode 24. He's one of the guys who sponsors my show every month, and his name is Isaac, and he is an Aramaic scholar.
Ooh.
So the language of Judaism, of Hebrew, right before it becomes full on. So he shows me just the first three letters, right? So the one that looks like an X is called an Aleph. The first, it has no vowel to it. And then the next one is this thing that looks like a Bet, right? And the next one's a Gimel. So the Bet, its back is against God, not in a bad way, but saying that God's already pushed you forward to move, and God's pushing you forward. And your self is open to the world in front of you. And the first thing that you're going to encounter is somebody asking you to give to them. Yeah. And so the first action you should want to do is give. And that's just in the first three letters of the alphabet from this class that I took from this guy on this podcast. And I'm just like, oh my God, you're blowing my mind. We didn't even get through the first 10 letters. I was like, you need to come back. We're doing another episode because the stuff that you're telling me from just the idea of a letter, let alone putting those things together to then have mathematical principles that go along with it, that tell stories a lot. You're just like, bro, and that was created how many years ago? Yeah. By some people in the desert? Like, what? Like,
when you do get the meaning of each letter, the English language, the Jesuit, the Anglo, the 1300, 1400, when they put these negative prefixes, when they change the mere translation to English, when you learn the real meaning in the Aramaic, it becomes laughable. You're like, well, how could you possibly translate that to
these other things? Yeah, yeah. It's when you see it and you see it for what it is and the translations for what they are, you're like, wow, these people were only trying to manipulate. They were only trying to hold people down. They were only like, why did they take out so many different parts of the Bible and circumvent stories?
My favorite, I go to BibleHub.org because if you do a search, it gives you a paragraph of each Bible ever written. And you get to see that in Genesis 1:28, they take out the word dominion, because if you have dominion over all the things, then you are the master of this world. But if I'm the judge and I got a Bible on the top of my desk and I took out the word dominion in Genesis 1:27, 1:28, then you ain't the master, the judges. You got to know these things.
Yeah, and that's another conversation I've been having a lot with people lately, which is the difference between I ask people, have you ever read Black's Law Bible? And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, it's the dictionary of all terms for
chapters, it's canons.
One more time.
It's not chapters in the Black's dictionary, it's canons.
It's canons. Yep.
Canonical law, ecclesiastical law.
And here's where I come in. This is where I come in with my thoughts. Ready for this one? Who were you before you were named? Before you learned any language, before you understood any language, who were you? Because that is who we are.
Before this third dimensional
world,
world
somebody came in and
imprinted
said,
itself on you.
Here's a bunch of words and language for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you how you want to look at that and how you're going to think about that. And that's what this means. And that's what that means. And push you into this programming. And so, for me now, it's like, who am I before I was named? Before you called me a name, who am I? Who was I?
Before the state asked your mother to put a name on a piece of paper.
Who was I? Who were you? And that's the
and if you can remember that,
the being that you are,
then you'll be in charge of your life. Until then, you're not. You just think you're.
Yeah, and I also want to mention, because I see this in your story as well, and this is just something that I've always said out loud, that if it's meant to be, it'll be easy. It's not. It's not like, don't get me wrong. You will have trials and tribulations, i.e., you're going through some and you're having your things. But once again, it's water off the back comparatively to this other form of life living that is very heavy and very. And so you don't get to find that space of being light and being beautiful and being giving and loving and sharing because you're so afraid of not thinking about yourself first.
Yeah.
And
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 when
so
Yep.
It became more and more evident what societies, how we were split up during the whatever, if it's an election or a COVID or whatever, we see how everybody thinks. And for some reason, I'm not sure what happened because I've been alive a long time, and I never saw anything where we can't forgive ourselves, we can't forgive each other anymore. If you think this way about this, we were able to argue about all these things for all these years and still go and have lunch together. Not anymore. I'm not sure what
not
happened.
anymore.
No,
Yeah,
we broke the forgiveness thing.
Yeah.
there's a lot of weird conspiracy theories that go along this route, but I really tend to go along with the idea that the communists of the world really wanted to circumvent the United States and started to throw socialism into the pocket. And when you start to see that socialism rise, that leftist mentality, I'm woke, the I'm following the rules because they told me to mentality, which is a very scary mentality to come from. Like, I'm wearing the mask. You have to wear the mask. If you don't wear the mask, then why are they making me wear the mask? You have to wear the mask. And it's just like, whoa.
Like, if you don't wear the mask, you don't care about me. And I'm just like,
Right. Right.
that
Yeah.
the
You
other
don't
day, I
care
didn't
about
know
me because
I haven't watched television in 28 years, and every once in a while somebody will say, "Hey, have you seen the latest Boogeyman on the television?" I go, "No." Don't you care?
Yeah. We do
Mm.
care. We do know. We know it's crazy out there. But here's the thing. The first thing they did to you when you were born is they spanked you. So why did they do that? Because they wanted to hear you cry?
Fear.
Because they wanted to
It would be a
because it's a fear
fear-based
thing?
control.
well, I mean, supposedly, I mean, and I could be wrong here, but I believe that the reason that the slap of the baby happens in the butt is to A, to get them to vomit, and to B, to get them to have a hey, oh shit, I'm awake, I'm here, okay, and then to actually get the baby to move and to get a reaction out of the baby. That's why I believe it's done. I could be totally wrong,
Now,
but I
We couldn't
believe.
love them or massage them or be nice about it.
I really love that one, and
I
that is
mean,
the
I
one.
don't
I kind of agree with you. And then if you talk to doulas, it's really natural birth and water, and there should be a
Yes.
very rubbing of the chest and a whole
Yes.
different process.
I'm an
Listen,
energy
I'm with
doula.
you.
Go for that.
Well, if
Yes.
if it was about the health, you would leave the plasma the cord attached
cord
as long as
attached.
you can for the plasma to make completely transfer. And this is not very popular. We cut the cord. And I was raised on a farm, so when I heard that, it really hit me.
But
It
really,
really,
if you get down to the nuts and bolts of things, and you remove this whole thing that's happening in our 3D world right now,
the
where
story,
the story,
his
the
story
story that everybody tells and perpetuates the story
that we love to believe.
because everybody wants to live in that pain. So it's about acknowledging that the pain has happened, accept the pain, and then try to figure out how to move from it and how to evolve from it and how to find that heart space for other people and yourself and give yourself grace. I know we come from different societies. There's different worlds all over this planet. Everybody is in a different place in their head. They've all learned certain things. They've all lived different ways. There's so many variables. That in itself is what is so beautiful. That in itself is what makes us all unique. And, we say all the time, I'm different. But then as soon as you talk to somebody and if you don't agree, you're like, why don't you agree with me?
Yeah, we're not different
Because
anymore.
we're
You're
different.
weird. We just went from different to you're weird.
You're weird. You don't believe like I do. Well,
Yeah.
I
Why don't you think
have to
like
believe
me? You have to think like me.
You don't have to think like me. You can think like you. I'm going to think like me. I'm just asking if maybe you could accept that I believe this way, and I'll accept the way that you believe, and you can do what makes you happy, and I'll do what makes me happy. And as long as we're not hurting anybody or causing damage, I mean, how about we just like,
Also, if
that-
you're not doing anything, actively doing something to fix the thing you're complaining about,
that's true too.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Right.
Complaining.
Well, I
just
think that there's. Yeah, but look, I'm just going to defend those. I like to be devil's advocate in these situations.
Dude,
I always feel that a child that doesn't understand will make your life impossible because it doesn't have any other way of doing it.
yeah.
So because they don't have the emotional or intellectual clarity. So the reason somebody, I believe, is doing those manner of behaviors is because they don't have the skill set and the tools that they need. And so
100%.
sometimes,
I mean,
Mhm.
yeah.
sometimes,
I-
no, listen. There's also people who have given up. There are also people who have mental problems. There are also people who have drug addiction. There are also people,
we know
But-
that. Yeah.
I think everybody just needs
We
a
agree
lot
there.
more hugs. I think everybody needs a lot more hugs. And even if you just hug yourself, because when I hug myself and I breathe in,
Mhm.
See,
I
she's
can
been
feel
softening
it.
my heart for all
I
these
can
years
feel it. It
because I
feels
grew
so
up with a
good.
father that said, if you're looking for sympathy, it's in the dictionary between shit and syphilis. And so Dawn has been softening my heart,
I'm like, come on.
and you
I'm
put it into
sorry.
song.
I'm sorry. You let that one go, and that one needs to hold. We're gonna say that one again and hold on to it.
If you're listening, if you're looking
If
for
you
sympathy,
need sympathy, it's
in the
between
dictionary.
shit and syphilis.
In the dictionary.
Drop the mic.
Mic
Whoa. I don't need. I'm done. Thank you very much, and that was the show. And
We'll have a t-shirt out tomorrow night.
we'll have t-shirts out tomorrow night. Exactly.
And that's not to say that there is no empathy. Of course, we have lots of empathy. People are going
Sure.
through some hard stuff. And like you said, people are coming through it with different skill sets
And different teachers.
and
man.
different teachers
Oh,
and
boy.
different friends
The
and
music
different
industry was
community. So
was not very forgiving, right? The music industry was very in Nashville anyway. What my experience was is that when you make art competitive, you're walking into that. It is what it is. And the teachers, if you find the right teacher for where you're trying to go, if that's a high goal, your teacher is not going to be. You need the right person to form you, right? And our teachers were serious about helping us,
yeah,
and it was rough, but it worked.
but it works because it kicked us in the pants.
Yeah, we
And
needed it.
it made us dig
Made
deeper.
us who we
it
are.
made us because if something that was said triggered an emotional response, then we'd have to go, oh, why do I feel this way? Okay, let me sit with
And we
that
were
for a
lucky
while.
we had each other to bounce
Okay.
it. We still do. You know,
We
we were
still
saying that
do. We
yesterday, how we're lucky to have each other to bounce it off of.
bounce our.
And I was going to mention that as well. That you're both very lucky to have a partner through the journey. I mean, look at like Dawn. No offense, but like what a amazing situation to get married and be able to have this complete drop of life and be like blip and have somebody there to be like, nope, I got you. It's all good. And that caregiving mentality and having that almost perfect person at the perfect time in the perfect place of your life that you needed. And then what a journey to go from that, roughness to, hey, we've been trying to do our music for so long and nobody wanted it. But now that we're just trying to just be ourselves and deal with our own trauma and drama. Well, what the hell? Now everybody wants to listen to us and hang out like this. Okay, I get it. I'm not saying no,
You just described
Very
it.
great story. Yeah.
Well, I think really too, it's
Let
because
go.
we said to ourselves, let's just let go and let's just be. Let's get on the road and take this everywhere we want
Just
to
write
take
songs
it.
about it and
write
repeat
songs
it every
and
night
sing it,
until
and
it becomes your
And if
reality.
it makes somebody else feel that they're not alone and it helps them feel the joy that we've come to find, and if it helps them work through the situations or hold on a little bit longer, don't give up. I mean, these are all song titles that we've written, because we've worked through these pains together. But it's been a magical journey to just let go and be ourselves, just be, do the things that we always set out to do, and have faith that no matter what, we're going to be okay. We're going to work through all of it, and we're just going to keep on going with this, going with the flow.
And the message in
100.
the songs has reached a place where I'm really proud of sharing something that I think is crucial to humanity. And
it's fully expressive from us, which makes we feel good with these songs.
It's the toggle between the ego that wants to fix the world, where I took myself out of a long time ago because I could see it. But you want to help anyway. It just feels good and it feels right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a thing where you're like, and so wanting to the fire walk this summer changed my life because I brought myself to a place where I didn't want or need anything, and that took a long time, man. And then they go, well, what's your biggest dreams? And have your biggest dream. What would that
I'm going to
like,
get you guys. I'm getting you guys to come to Cancun. And we're gonna put together a seminar that's gonna come, and we're gonna have maybe 20 to 100 people. It's gonna be super exclusive. We're gonna charge stupid amounts of money. We're gonna do bufo and ayahuasca, and we're gonna have our ceremonies, and we're all gonna listen to you play music while other people are doing fire breathing, and we're gonna do a fire walk, and we're gonna do a whole thing. So that people can have the experience and learn to live for themselves and learn to have their own expressive moments, and also take responsibility for who they are and where they are in their lives, as you were saying. Man, I can't wait to do this with you guys on such a level. You have no idea. Listen, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, but I do have to keep moving as I am in Cancun. And I have somebody waiting for me who's here to pick me up because I have a meeting to go to. Because
we could be talking for days, I'm sure.
I could. You have no idea. I was saying to him earlier, he's like, how long is it going to be? And I was like, I don't do that. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, sometimes I go an hour. Sometimes I go 4 hours. Sometimes I go 2 hours.
You want a haircut? She having a haircut?
Yeah, over in time. And so he's over here. He's like, you want a haircut, bro? You want to get a haircut, don't you? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm doing my podcast.
You lasted a shave and a haircut. That's how long it took.
Oh, I lasted a shave and a haircut is what he said. I was like, you're right. Yeah, no doubt. But either way, so before I let you guys go, could you please tell people at home, how can they find you? I know it already says Don Loves Nash on here, and I'll show it to everybody so they can see it. Let me get on.
But now we got the new album that just came out, first album in 16 years of songwriting.
And I dropped the link to that in the comments, so if somebody wanted to see that preview, they could. Or they can go to donlovesnash.com and see everything about us. You can order the album.
And if you're on any social platform,
listen to our videos. You can say hi to us on Instagram and Facebook.
It's all
Don
Loves Nash. Don Loves Nash.
You can actually Google Don Loves Nash and get lots of things. And just take your pick.
Get the album.
We would love to hear from you and love to hear about your journeys too. And if you're on a caregiving journey, we'd love to hear about you and your caregiving journey. And so that way, if we're in your town, maybe we can come say hi to you and sing some songs for you. Just let us know.
If it's not too much to ask, Paul, can you run that 1 minute video again that you played at the beginning? Is that possible?
Or do you want us to sing you a song?
What kind of question is that? Yeah, of course I'll do it. No worries. So how about we'll do that as the outro, and so you guys can say goodbye to everybody, and then from there I'll just replay it, and then we'll just end it, and then I will send you a private message afterwards telling you how much I love you.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for doing this and having us and putting us in front of your beautiful patrons. This is great.
It's an absolutely blessing on my end, and a blessing to all of them, and a blessing to have you here and enjoying this moment and being the people that you are. And I couldn't be happier. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this.
I love you. I love you guys.
Have a great day.
Come on back to now, that's where it's at. We can't predict the future. We can't erase the past. This is my favorite part. This is where we come together. In the middle of a little love song. Right where we belong. Ooh, in the middle of a love song, right where we belong. Do you really know what you really want, what you really need? Do you really know what you really want, what you really need? Do you really know what? Dum da dee dum dum da dee dum dee dum da 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 dee dum. Step right up, step inside. Why do we do this every time? Stay with me. You're gonna be happy, happy. Baby, you're my queen. Crazy, a little bit crazy. She's stoned and alone in San Francisco. Too far gone, too far away.
Wow, 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 wow. Guys, thank you again. Thank you again. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Super blessings. My pleasure. My pleasure. An absolute pleasure. I would love to have you guys back on again. Let's chat. And like I said, I'll send you a message here in a minute. And I love you guys. Thank you for being here.
Love you.
Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody watching. And
That's
we
very
love
generous.
all of you. Anybody who's out there and listening, we love you guys. Thank you for being here with us.
Yay.
Cool.
Thanks a
We'll
try.
see you guys later.
Have a great day.
Oh my God. How is it that no matter what episode we do, we get the most amazing, authentic, beautiful, giving human beings? If you've ever wanted to know what my life is like and what it feels like to be in my life, it's this all the time. I meet these kind of people all the time because when you work in a certain place in your head about how you're going to exist in this world, you're just going to meet those people because that's the energy and the frequency that you live on. So, my friends, if you would not mind, please go out into the world, do something nice for somebody else. And if you can't do something nice for yourself, it does start with you. Number 2, don't get caught up in all the crazy stuff and everything going on, because if you do, then you end up a little poopy, and that's not good for you or me. No. And number 3, please, please, please like, share, subscribe. Send this out to somebody who'd like to see it. From my heart to yours, I really thank you. I want to thank Isaac again for sponsoring. There's Kitty Spice McKnight. She also sponsored. And also, if you want to do a podcast, but you don't know what you're doing, a podcast. If you want to do a podcast and you don't know what you're doing, you can use the same exact platform I'm using. It's called StreamYard. There's a link in the description down below. You order in, I get a discount, you get a Streamcast pod thing, and everybody's happy. Yes. And with that, my friends, I love you, and I will see you all on the other side.